there's someone coming to the door. Just a second. Oh, it's the mail. Okay. All right. So today I was thinking there are several ways that we make decisions for our food. What we choose to eat, and of course, what we choose. And it's really sometimes very difficult to make food choices based on something that's going to happen in the future. Um, so I just wanted to share a couple of tips on how to decide whether or not a food is serving a good purpose for you, for me, and how to use this idea to what purpose? What is the purpose of this action that I'm taking? And we're going to talk mostly about food or alcohol or whatever that. So, what is the purpose of this food for me today, right now? So, you're looking at a piece of food and you can know that certain parts of or certain kinds of food are going to serve a healthy purpose for you. They're going to serve purpose of accommodating your taste, relieving cravings, making you maybe like if you drink a stimulant like coffee or even alcohol, maybe alcohol has a purpose for you that you for you that it makes you feel a certain way. And so then you want that. So when you ask yourself, for example, I'm looking at my coffee. This is my cup of coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee a day. Like, what is the purpose of this coffee? Okay. And I can say for myself, the purpose of this coffee is that it makes me feel good in the morning. I don't drink 10 cups of it. I used to have a pot of coffee on the stove all day long. It helps me to, I like the caffeine in it. This little bit of caffeine kind of revs me up for the morning. I love to share a cup of coffee. I love to go to a coffee shop and get the social aspect of coffee. But really, so it's good to ask what is the purpose and to listen to the purpose and decide, is the purpose of this going to be useful for me? For example, with cigarettes, cigarettes is something that I have struggled on for many, many years. Like, what is the purpose of this cigarette? And I used to be able to tell myself that it calms me down. Then I learned that there were other ways I could calm myself down, and that I could ask myself, is the purpose of the cigarette the fact that it's so unhealthy for me? Is that enough of a purpose for me to go ahead and smoke that cigarette, or to find another way of calming down, taking a walk or drinking some water, taking nice deep breaths? Because when you're smoking, you're like, you're taking these big deep breaths. Well, maybe I just need to take a big deep breath without the cigarette. When you're eating food, similar things. A lot of times we eat sugar because we're addicted to it. It raises our, insulin, and we feel kind of jazzed about it. But then the crash. So we can ask ourselves, what is the point of this? The purpose of this. And then ask yourself if you're okay with this purpose. If you want to keep going, am I going to eat this sugar? Have a very long, short-term benefit from it. It's going to taste really good. You can smell it. It tastes good. Is the purpose of that enough to override, the way you're going to feel in 20 minutes? Or the feeling that you might have as like, I shouldn't have eaten that sugar. Is it enough to carry you? Or is the purpose of this sugar or the cinnamon bun, whatever, to tempt you and to show you what kind of discipline that you have? That is another purpose that food could have for us, is like to show us really what kind of discipline we have, how we can stand up to the challenge, how we can say no, how we can avoid, how we can decide for ourselves. Maybe that piece of cake, or maybe that particular type of food can show us that we can avoid it. And also, it could show us that we can have compassion with ourselves. We are inundated, clobbered with food choices all day long. It's crazy. Everything, everywhere we go while we're driving, billboards, they pipe scent out of, what do you call those? Like fast food restaurants and stuff like that. They literally pipe the smell out of the restaurant so that when you're driving by, it's just kind of like a little cartoon kind of seeping into your window. That is the stuff that we have to work with. So we can ask ourselves, like, we can create a purpose for our food. The purpose being has something to teach us. It helps us to be compassionate to ourselves. It helps us to learn perhaps discipline. It helps us to learn what we crave. And, even when and if we do indulge in something, we can find purpose in enjoying something, the taste of something, the smell of something. But when we start to interact consciously with food, that's the point. Being conscious with our food choices, okay? And not just eating blindly. And believe me, I get it. I've done that for many, 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 many years. But we can sort of open the window on, how we do make these choices. So I encourage you to say, to what end, what is the purpose of this food? And how can I create a certain purpose for this food? Am I going to create a purpose that is good for me? Something that I can bless myself, my temple, my body, my life with this food? Or perhaps this food has absolutely no good purpose, no good ending to it. This action, whether it's food or alcohol, whatever habit that you might have that you're working with. So thank you for joining me on Daily Dose of Ketosis. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Let's see. I'm on my, it's almost my 1.5 year anniversary from when I started. I weighed 215 pounds. I weigh about 150 now. So I'm just really enjoying eating healthy. And that's a purpose too. Purpose so that I can live my life and be, healthy. And I want that for all of us, taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. All right, I gotta go. Talk to you soon.